Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we uncover the hidden meanings behind corporate filings. And today we're looking at FTI Consulting, and it looks like they might be setting up a sweet new London pad. Get ready for a real estate deep dive disguised as a financial report. Because FTI Consulting is telling us about a big lease agreement that could shape their future in a major global city. Stick around to find out what it means for their money and their operations. And hey, if you like breaking down these corporate documents into plain English, make sure you are subscribed. We also have a Discord community linked in the description below where we chat about all things business and finance. Alright, let's get straight into it. The big news here is that on the 21st of November 2025, FTI Consulting Incorporated, or as we'll call them FTI Consulting, signed an agreement to lease some pretty significant office space in London. This isn't just any little rental, it is a major move for their operations there. So what is the deal? FTI Consulting is guaranteeing the lease obligations for their wholly owned subsidiary, FTI Consulting Management Limited, which will be the actual tenant. They're looking at taking over 3 leases for space in a building called One Exchange Square, located at 175 Bishopsgate in London. This is a prime spot, and we're talking about a significant amount of space, roughly 80,664 rentable square feet to start. But here is a kicker. They actually have the option to expand that space to over 102,000 square feet before the end of January 2026. That is a big signal that they're planning for substantial growth in London. Now, they won't be moving in right away. Possession of this new London office is expected around the 25th of September 2027. This gives them plenty of time, and it is also dependent on the landlord finishing some agreed upon work on the premises and delivering the space vacant and ready. This is where it gets interesting from a commitment perspective. The leases themselves are set for a 15-year term, which is a pretty long haul. However, there is a built-in escape hatch. The tenant can decide to end the leases after the 10th year. This flexibility is important for a company making a big physical move. Now, let's talk about the money. One of the most attractive parts of this deal is that rent payments will be completely skipped for the first 16.5 months. That is a significant break. There is also a chance this rent abatement period could be even longer if the landlord doesn't get their work done on time. After that free rent period, the actual rent payments will kick in, paid quarterly. If they decide to take that larger space, the total rent over the life of the lease is estimated to be around $145 million. If they stick with the smaller initial space, it is about $115 million. These figures are based on current foreign exchange rates and don't include any potential rent increases. Now, it is not all predictable numbers. Rent payments will be reviewed in the open market every 5 years. This means the rent could go up, but importantly, it can't go down. So while they have a fixed idea of costs now, market forces could change that over the decades. The lease also includes provisions for renewal, where they can extend for another 5 or 10 years at current market rental value, although it won't be less than what they were paying before the renewal. There is also an interesting clause about future expansion. If FTI Consulting continues using the premises after the initial term, they have a first shot at leasing an additional floor in the same building. This shows a strategic vision for long-term presence and potential growth within that specific location. It is also worth noting that besides this lease agreement, there aren't any other significant deals or relationships between FTI Consulting and the landlord. This suggests the lease is a standalone business transaction. Now, this lease agreement triggers a specific reporting requirement. Because it represents a significant financial commitment, FTI Consulting is classifying it as a direct financial obligation, or an obligation under an off-balance sheet arrangement. This means it is a commitment that could impact their financial health. Even if it is not a traditional loan, a 15-year lease for millions of dollars is definitely a significant long-term liability that investors need to be aware of. It impacts their future cash flow planning and how they manage their balance sheet. And as usual, they've also provided a list of exhibits that support this filing. The main one is the full agreement for leases, which is filed as Exhibit 10.1. They also have a cover page formatted in a way that is easier for computers to read, which is standard practice now. This exhibit is the detailed contract, and while we've covered the key points, the actual document outlines all the specifics of the agreement. They've noted that any attachments or schedules to this lease agreement are not being filed publicly, but they're willing to provide them to the Securities and Exchange Commission if requested. Finally, the report is signed by Curtis P. Liu, who holds the title of General Counsel. This confirms the official nature and management's awareness of this significant lease agreement. So, what does all this really mean for FTI Consulting? This lease is a strong indicator of aggressive growth plans for their London operations. Committing to such a large space for a minimum of 10 years, with potential extensions, signals confidence in their future business there. The rent abatement period is a smart move, easing the financial burden of setup. However, the long Term commitment and the open market rent reviews represent significant financial risks if market conditions become unfavourable or if their London business doesn't perform as expected. The total potential rent of up to $145 million is a substantial future liability that will need careful financial management. On the positive side, securing premium office space in a financial hub like London can bolster their brand image and attract top talent. For investors, this move signifies a strategic investment in their international presence with potential for significant returns, but it also comes with long-term financial obligations that require close monitoring. What is your take on this big London lease for FTI Consulting? Do you think it is a smart bet on future growth or a potentially risky long-term commitment? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful, please give this video a like and subscribe for more in-depth corporate analysis. And don't forget to join our Discord community. The link is in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.